Welcome to Keep the Hotel Empty. Today we take the hotel with us to the friendly confines of Oscura. We are joined today with the psychedelic audio menagerie from Atlanta, Chew, Mr. Brett, Sarah, and Jamie. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad we were able to put this together. We're not in our normal digs, but Oscura's kind of home away from home, so this is cool.
Sure, yeah, it'll work.
So I know you guys got new music coming out this year. I know you got a European tour on deck. You're on tour right now, but kind of press rewind for me and paint the picture. Give me the overview of where Chew becomes a thing.
Let's see. Well, I mean, what do you think?
We've just wrapped up. We're about finished with production. Jamie's producing our new album, Found
Very
Footage.
Cool.
Should be out pretty soon here. We're just working on some final touches, and the art's coming together. Richie Brown is going to be doing the album cover again. He's done like horses and all of our album covers, and
very cool,
among other things.
Yeah, he's done our music videos and everything too. So he's kind of like our art director.
A couple music videos and stuff too. So yeah, we're talking to Stolen Body Records, our record label based out of UK, and we're also talking to another label based out of Spokane, Washington.
Nice. Called
Corporate Records that we met at Treefort Festival last year, which we're also playing Treefort Festival again this year in Boise. So yeah, we're doing this tour. We're taking Jamie with us for this Florida run to kind of warm up for the European run. Jamie's coming with us obviously as well to Europe. So yeah, we're super stoked. Yeah, and then we're gonna really just tour this new album and United States like as much as we can, pretty extensively when we get back. So
yeah, we're finally going back to the West Coast at some point this year.
Nice.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
So is that like a big cornerstone of the Chew world, being on the road, touring, getting out there right with people?
Oh yeah. As soon as we started, we've been touring since day one, and it's just like that's how we get exposure. That's how we are able to make money, and you just got to hit the road and try to play as many shows as possible. Yeah,
it can only be as cool in your hometown, like to a certain extent,
right?
And then like yeah, just if you're putting it in people's faces and bringing it to their door, it's like hard to deny. Whereas like you can be like super great in your hometown, but like I don't know, that's not fun. And this you can travel around and meet new people and put
make
people
new
on.
fans, make new friends.
I love traveling in general, and I love playing music. So together is great. And
was that something you guys kind of had in mind in the jump of forming this?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we definitely don't want to just play Atlanta. We want to play everywhere, and like especially touring Europe. Like we love touring Europe. It's the music scene out there is just incredible.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about the differences next. We've heard a lot of bands that have been, American landlocked, for lack of a better way of putting it, and I know it can be vastly different over there. So talk to me about like some of your first experiences over there, some of the things you noticed right away.
Just hospitality in general is above and beyond what the United States presents to artists, honestly. You'd be lucky to get a couple drink tickets and here in the United States and just kind of like, I don't know, you rush in, you rush out, and then it's kind of like, it is what it is. You'll have different experiences other places, but in Europe, for the most part, like when you get there, everyone from the door guy to the owner of the club, like you all sit around and like have like a meal, and you get to know everyone really well, and everyone kind of cares about each other a little bit more, and it feels like a family, and you get to know these people as opposed to just like, you see bands come in and come out every day, and you just kind of get jaded to that. I guess it's I don't know. I wish the States had a little bit more of that, because it's just very.
They cared more about musicians, overseas they really appreciate the arts more.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. What
for sure?
Are you noticing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people they're excited to see an American band play. So there's usually a lot of people at the shows, and they buy a bunch of merch, and and they usually get you a hotel room and cook you a home cooked meal, and
it's like the United States, maybe you go to get a beer, and if there happens to be a band playing, you're like, oh, that's a bonus. Whereas this is like you're like super enthralled with the art this band's creating, and you want to go out, and they happen to be serving beer, so it's a little bit different in that regard.
Does that seem weird? Did it strike you as odd right away the first time you started to experience that and be like, man, we're 1,000+ X miles away from home, and this is so much more radical than what it would be?
And it didn't blow.
It wasn't surprising to me because I just had heard from other bands who had toured Europe that it's like just so much better than touring the US. So I already like kind of knew, and then experiencing it in person was just like, oh yeah, this is like way better.
So I know you guys have, I don't want to say a niche sound, but definitely a unique sound. Did you find that was more palatable when you took it to audiences like that?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess they're definitely very open-minded over there with all kinds of music genres and everything. I don't know. I mean, people who like loud, heavy, maybe spacey kind of music. We're gonna find those people everywhere.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think that they're just generally interested because we've came so far to like present that, to them. So
yeah.
it's like you're right in the fact that we're weird, but the live show I think just speaks volumes. Not to make that a pun or anything, but it what transcends any kind of language barrier or anything like that, and we put our all into the performance, and so like. You can maybe allow some of the weirdness genre-wise that you wouldn't otherwise because the live performance is so impactful, maybe. But yeah, Europe has always been super into what we've been putting out for sure.
Very cool. So that actually begs the question: when you know that you have so much energy and so much of your world revolves around being able to play live and bring this stuff to people face to face in real time, how do you approach your songwriting and then thinking you're going to record this, but really the performance is where it's at?
I guess, yeah, like a lot of times we'll write a song in the studio and then really you kind of flesh it out when you're playing live, and you kind of like, then the song kind of grows and it might even morph into something else. But really like playing the live shows really helps with writing songs too.
Yeah, we try to we don't really have any set formulaic way or rules to writing songs, and that's kind of what's not boxed us into a genre, I think. It's just kind of what we're feeling at the time and just kind of make it our own. But yeah, it doesn't quite feel settled as a song until we're finished touring with it. Like, for example, we have a song that we usually close our set with called Mother, that on the recorded version is slow and just kind of like a more template version song, I guess. But like,
but now I have like 2 drum solos in the song.
It's completely morphed and mutated. So yeah, it's a completely different beast, and so you'll get at least a little bit of that after you finish a new song touring with it before recording it.
So when you have those moments, do you think to yourself, oh man, if we could just go re-record this and put in these drum solos, or is it always this is what we can add into the next?
It's a timestamp.
Cauldron?
It's a timestamp. Recording's a timestamp.
Like, the live show should be different than your recordings anyway.
Okay.
So like we have the recording version or the recorded version of the song, and then live it could be totally different. Or maybe just like certain parts of it might be different, or like we add a jam live, but on the recording we don't have that. So it kind of keeps both things unique and different. The live show versus the recording.
Yeah, something someone always told me a while back is just like, whatever you laid down for the album is just, that's what it is at that moment in your career. So you don't have to like worry, should I have done this or should I change it that way? It's just kind of a reflection of where you were, and you can always take that and add, like you were saying, it to the next one, or put out a live track version of it the way we do it now, or so on.
So do you think, I guess the answer to this is likely no. You're not one of those bands that when you're recording, it's like, oh man, if we can't do this live, we can't put it on the record.
We've always been able to figure it out. Like, we've been a trio till recently, and we're trying to figure out how to do it as a duo. And then I started playing synth, and then she started using the SPD to trigger bass lines. We didn't know what we were doing before that either. So we like
resourcefulness for the win.
Yeah, I think they can ultimately be 2 different things, the recording and the live thing. But ultimately, there's nothing that I don't think we couldn't perform live, just with enough like creativity and time.
Yeah. I just know that some bands you get set in that we're not putting it on the record if we can't play it live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, there might be some like wild, like really heavily produced track or two that we could, we wouldn't want to play or it would be really tough to perform, but it hasn't happened yet. So, yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
You can leave the door open for the
yeah,
opus.
why not? Yeah.
So then, when you're writing things, is it like you always write in real time, everybody in the group, or do you does one of you have like a computer bedroom setup and you bring it in piecemeal together then as the group? Is there a set way, or is it just whatever comes out, however it comes out, we're rolling with it?
A lot of times it'll start with maybe like Brett will write a guitar part and be like, hey, I've got this part and this on the sampler. Let's see if we can like put those together. We write together. And then sometimes we've even just like jammed and like wrote a song like on the spot. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let's make this a song. But a lot of times, like he'll come with like a sample or guitar part like ready to go.
Yeah,
and then we just kind of like produce it from there.
It's kind of the formula, but it's still never like quite how I think in my head how it should sit until Sarah gets like her kit involved. Like Horses, for example, kind of like the beat, the guitar riff I had is kind of like a straight 4/4 kind of a thing. But I wanted it to kind of like shift a little bit, and then I was like, I don't know, I just wanted to shift, and that's all I had to say. And Sarah was like, oh, like this, and it was like the drum beat, like. So yeah, like that's kind of as formulaic as it gets. Like I'll have a riff or a sample or something like that. But really, again, the actual context of the music comes out with live instrumentation and fleshing it out, because I'll put some stuff in my sampler, but. It might not be even what I crafted as a song. It might just be like a delay tail of like a crazy little glitchy sound that we work together through, and we work out through like the instrumentation and jamming it out. So
right.
There's no formula really, and usually it's just like the song kind of shows us the way it kind of wants us to do it, and we just work on it till it figures it. Yeah, something like that. Some sort of cliche like that.
Yeah. Well, I actually like to ask people that sort of question, because it is. Creative entities, regardless if we're making poetry or making music, have kind of two minds of this. When you're at that point, and I think I know what the answer is based on what you just said, but when you're at that point, do you feel like you're thinking of ideas, or you just got yourself to the point where you're the conduit, the idea comes to you?
I definitely do feel that way. It seems so cliche to say, and you hear artists talk about it and stuff, and it just, I don't even like to say it like that, but it does feel like that. Like, yeah, definitely some of our most unique songs, I have no idea where that came from.
Right, yeah.
It's amazing the cross-section of people that can say that. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So I always like to ask. I know it is sort of cliche, it is sort of like that, but it's one of those things that's just like I'm endlessly curious about.
Yeah, I totally
like the universe just like is like, okay, now you're gonna do this on drums, and it's like, oh, that was pretty cool. I didn't even think about it. Right. It just kind of came out like that. Yeah.
Right. So when you're first forming and you're jamming, getting these songs together, did you record right away, or did you go out and test all these things live and get them all honed in and then put it down?
I think we started live.
Yeah, we usually kind of get it together live before we go into the studio. Yeah, because then once you're in the studio, you're like way tighter. You know what I mean? Because you've played these songs a million times on stage.
Right.
So, yeah, and you kind of already know what you want to do at least.
The audience will tell you a little bit, like, too, what parts are working too or not so working. Like you expect like kind of a pop from the audience here, and it doesn't hit. So you're like, why isn't it hitting as hard? And then kind of shift
like maybe this part's too long. Maybe let's shorten it, or or whatever.
We have a tendency to like write really long songs too, so we just like try to just keep cutting the fat until it's like acceptable for radio. No, I mean, that's a joke. But it's never going to be that.
No, but
college radio.
College radio, there you go.
Yeah, that's always an interesting endeavor, trying to cut stuff.
Yeah.
Has Jamie been able to help you in that role?
Oh, yeah. Like, he's producing this new record that's coming out. He recorded it, and at your studio, you're like mixing it on like analog stuff.
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah.
It's in all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. But it sounds awesome, dude. Yeah, he's crushing it right now.
He also recorded a previous album of ours, A Fine Accoutrement. He produced that one as well. So, yeah, we're super excited to see what's coming from this one. So, it's almost finished.
Nice. Yeah. Do you guys track live?
So, actually, most of our old records, the drums were always tracked live, not to a click or anything. Not to a click or anything, is like straight live. But for this new recording, we recorded to a click. this time, and there's pros and cons to doing both.
Right.
But we usually like recording live because it gives that live energy to the song.
Yeah, you have so much interplay in your songs.
Yeah. But this was really cool too because it just kind of makes it easier to like edit stuff if everything's to a click. So, but yeah, I liked it. I liked it this time.
Yeah, we'll record as much as we can live, and then a lot of times like, you know, do some overdubs and stuff, but the live stuff will usually end up making its way into the recording too, like down in the mix or augmented or glitched out somehow, or it's definitely still has like, we'll capture more of the live feeling than like track for track, like overdubbings like that. So we try to use as much as we can.
Yeah, it sounds like you found some good happy mediums in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're super excited for this new album to come out. And Jamie's playing bass on it, and
We're both playing bass, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, we're playing a lot of the new songs tonight too.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about how you start getting off the ground and start getting some bigger tours and start building, because I know for a lot of upstart bands, that's the huge hurdle. Even when you can get this first record out and you can start to tie the room together, like you said, how are we going to get on the road and make some money? Mm-hmm. So how did you kind of start, and what's some of the big stuff you learned out of the gate?
Well, I had been touring with bands for a minute before Chew started. So, like, as soon as we started, we were just like, yeah, let's just, like, tour all the time. And really, you kind of have to just, like, almost play as many places as you can. And that's how you get connections with other bands. Or maybe, like, maybe cool bands will come to your show and be like, hey, let's do another show here. But really, it's really about, you have to put yourself out there to just meet as many people as possible.
Right.
And, but yeah, like, I mean, over the years, like, we're friends with Zeta. Do you guys know who Zeta is? Oh, they're really awesome Venezuelan.
Sounds like we need to know.
Yeah. They're very similar to like our sound.
Very cool.
But yeah, they're like blowing up right now. And then, you know, we'll do tours with them. What other bands did we tour with?
A lot, but yeah, just like putting yourself out into different scenes, you'll see you'll kind of create your own scene and what venues are, you know, showing you favors, you know, which one of your favorites and who like comes out to your shows, and It doesn't really matter what your previous band might have been either, because like each band is different.
You have to start over. Pretty much every new band you go into, you kind of have to start over from the beginning to build your like fan base and everything.
And like in this digital world too, I think a lot of people think that they don't need to tour as much or they can do as much online, which I don't really agree with at all. I think that there's million excuses why to not tour, and you can always give yourself a reason to not leave your hometown or wherever you live, and you should just get out there and do it and see the world. And there's a lot of world to see.
For it.
And no matter what the people are telling you in your hometown, it doesn't really matter, because there's an audience for your stuff somewhere. So, you know, and if you work hard, you'll see the results. Or not. So just sit at home. That's cool too.
Yeah, I was gonna say either way. Yeah, I mean, you might as well find out.
Right.
So you mentioned a good word there, maybe a bad word, the digital world. How do you guys feel about the way releasing music has turned now, where you're so incentivized to play the singles game, especially when your material way more lends itself to a record format?
It is what it is. I mean, if you get mad at it, you're just gonna. I don't know what that's gonna prove.
That's true. This is true.
So you just really just like come to a live show. Like we just try to put the emphasis on the live show. I think because like the algorithm or the music market's gonna constantly shift, and people who get older that are used to a outdated model are gonna get upset, and it's gonna just constantly shift. I mean. Is it my favorite? No, I love sitting down with an album and smoking a blunt, you know, and like looking through every little nook and cranny of the record. There's nothing like that. But I mean, is that the same experience you're gonna get from Spotify? No. But is it what people are doing? Yes. So you kind of have to just roll with it, I would say. I mean, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but what are you gonna do? You know.
Do you think about it at all when you're writing? You're like, oh man, we got an album, but we should put out a single, or you just straight march to your own?
I guess we usually do. Yeah, we have singles. Like we released Flesh. That was our last single with a singer last year. So Sorry, what was the question?
We think about it. I mean, we think about it, but ultimately we're gonna write the music and write the album how it's gonna be.
Yeah, because it almost gives you that kind of pressure, that thought in the back of your head. It's like, oh man, if we write this record and we don't put out half of it as singles, are we gonna, cut off our nose to spite our face? But you know what I mean? It's such a give and take.
I mean, we probably lost some momentum by not doing the whole single for single in the past. Maybe like looking back on stuff, maybe, but I don't know. We just have we just want to make sure the music is so locked in that I don't know. We just try. It comes to mind, but like, there's only so much marketing and stuff I can do as well.
You can actually think about it.
We're DIY as much as humanly possible. We do, so much. So it's like, when the focus is all on the music, it's. It's boombastic.
When the focus is all on the music, kick drum.
Yeah.
Do some fast kicks right there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's the coffee sound check.
That's right.
Give me your kick real fast.
Right. Double espresso.
But yeah, but Brett's really good at marketing. Like he's really good at social media and just having like engaging posts and everything, because that's important too. Social media now.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the real operative question. When you clearly have an artistic vision first, that's the head pin and chew world, pretty obviously. How do you balance that with the then plastic part of the world you got to do to make sure anybody hears what you're doing?
Well, I think that's kind of been like our whole steez, like from the beginning, is just kind of a reflection of like heavy marketing with like the correlation with McDonald's and like that whole
and
like
the Disney W. I love that. Love that.
Yeah, we've kind of held a mirror up to the facade of whatever the hell marketing is in general. It's because it's like it's a part of the business, if you want to call it that, but because it's like, you've always heard of the music business is evil. I mean, I like to work on the music and unfortunately have to deal with the business, so it's just, again, what can you do? It's if you want to keep moving, you gotta figure it out and move with it or get left.
They say where the business is the music, but the music isn't the business.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks though. You have to do that, but whatever. Like you just can't get mad about it. Just do as much as you can and learn in the process, maybe. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we are getting drum checked,
sure.
We're gonna have to have a talk with you guys proper at the studio when you're back.
Sure,
no
problem at all. Yeah.
But normally I would say I got a loaded question and an easy one to get you out here, but you guys are gonna get out on two easy ones.
Okay.
We can ball them together.
Okay.
Since you got a record coming out, I like to ask bands this question, not necessarily to find out who their favorite band is, but who you see as like the most complimentary setting. So you can put together your record release party. Here's your two questions.
Okay.
Anywhere, any venue, and two bands you would put on with you.
Just like dream bands?
Anybody, live, dead.
International Space Station.
Nice. I was gonna say the moon can be an option.
Black Moth, Super Rainbow, and
I think Garth Brooks is still going.
And Garth Brooks.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we'd be a great fit with Garth Brooks. Let's see, where would I want to play? Maybe somewhere in Europe, somewhere in Berlin, and Queens of the Stone Age, and Battles.
Oh, nice. That's good. I'm there. I'm there.
Oh, I have nothing. They're all great choices. Excellent choices.
He agrees.
Well, then you're playing nowhere. No one. It's the anti-show.
I would say let's just quit the band. Let's put music all together. No venues. Let's shut it all down. Let's go
If
back
a
to
record
lockdown.
release party happens in the forest and no one's there to hear it, did it really happen?
I like that.
Let's go back to lockdown.
Let's go back to the lockdown. Lockdown 2025.
All right.
Choose official position.
There, that's it. Let it be written. Brett, Sarah,
Yes.
Jamie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next time we're
Appreciate
doing
it.
this up proper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, can't wait to watch you guys tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
man.
Thank you in
Thank you so
TV
much.
land. Thank you,
Appreciate
Internet
it.
worldwide. Sweet.
That's our first key, the quickie.
Yeah, that was good. Thanks, y'all.
No, all good. I made it work.
I was gonna say it, dude. I knew that was gonna be
Made it work. Yeah. Well, that was cool, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I'm always down to throw down a trap setup and see what we get.
And I would love to pick your brain more. I've been paying attention to your band since Morgan was playing with you.
Oh, okay, yeah.